A reading from the Gospel of John. Jesus said, "My sheep hear my voice. I know them, and they follow me. I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish. No one can take them out of my hand. My Father who has given them to me is greater than all, and no one can take them out of the Father's hand. The Father and I are one." It's easy to see the metaphor of Jesus as being the good shepherd with us as being his sheep. God sends Jesus out to be the good shepherd to humanity. But what we might miss is that just as Jesus is a good shepherd to us, by following his example, we can be good shepherds to the world around us. Now imagine for a second if we were to take this implication and go in the reverse. If we are sheep who can become shepherds to the world by Jesus' example, then it would stand to reason that Jesus became a good shepherd because he was following the example of his Father in heaven. Jesus was shepherded by God, and through God's example and how in touch he was with God, in only 30 years he became a good shepherd to all the world. And he was so in touch with the will of God, he was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice, dying on the cross for us. On the most basic human level, what sets Jesus apart from other first-century Jews was how in touch with God he really was. So much so that he was on a very human level, one with God. And it became very apparent to those around him to such an extent that he had disciples leaving everything behind to follow him. Imagine what it must have felt like to just simply be in his presence. As an example, can you think of someone who made you feel like a better person just by simply being around them? For me, that person was Jim Skirl. He was so in touch with Jesus, his good shepherd, that he single-handedly changed St. Ignatius High School forever. From going out to feed the homeless with labra, recruiting students to serve as pallbearers for those who didn't have anyone to carry their casket, to spending time with the mentally disabled at the L'Arche community, he was a sheep who grew into a good shepherd and changed people like me forever. Now take that person in your mind and ask yourself if they will be remembered 100 years from now. Then recall that Jesus, a poor Jewish peasant born into obscurity in a nowhere town of Nazareth, wasn't just remembered a century after his death. No, his memory still continues to live on and reverberates to the present day as well as into the future. From a historical perspective, we should not even know he ever existed. But the fact that we do must mean that he is like being around the greatest person we have ever known times infinity. So imagine what it must have been like to be simply in his presence, and then ask yourself how you can take his example to be a good shepherd to the world around us.